The past, which exists in the present memory, is a completely different past. It's a transformed and enlightened base for the creative present.
Искусство древнее это не было забавой.
Ancient art was not an entertainment. It was seldom used as decoration. Art was ideological. It had to portray certain symbols, characters, and concepts.
Сако-сибирский звериный стиль, либо называют иногда скифский звериный стиль.
Saka-Siberian animal style, or otherwise known as Scythian animal style, originates in the vast Eurasian steppes, roughly from Mongolia territories to the Danube. The inhabitants of these territories mastered the art of nomadic herding, and at the same time, they were the founders of an astonishing artistic style, which today we refer to as animal style.
Параллельно с этим скотоводством возник поразительный художественный стиль, который мы называем звериный. До сих пор нас поражает вот эта неудержанная, совершенно такая абсолютно свободная фантазия этих древних.
It is astonishing how untamed and unimpeded was the imagination of these ancient artists. They could combine the diversity of concepts into one image. They were able to combine a variety of meanings into a single image. For us, in Kazakhstan, Saka-Scythian culture will be relevant for a very long time because the basics of Kazakh art stem from the most important structural elements of the Saka art.
Самые главные структурные основополагающие элементы.
In this sense, the art of the Scythian Siberian animal style, or Saka, in which all things, animals and people, and the plants are one interactive organism where each part is dependent on the other. And that is, of course, the most pertinent problem of the contemporary art.
Где каждая часть зависит друг от друга. Это, конечно, это самая актуальная проблема и современного искусства.
Наша история, она очень богатая, ее нельзя так просто взять и забыть.
We have a very comprehensive history. It would be silly to disregard it. It's full of ideas that could be developed further and brought to practice, retaining individuality. Maybe I sound a little selfish, but why not do it? When you work with something from the past, you are giving it a new life. Back then, when someone created it, it was very practical, and now it's a piece of art showing us the lifestyle of the past. To some degree, what Empire does is a heroic enterprise, because apart from them, no one else approaches it seriously.
Серьезно этим никто не занимается.
Кесенедегі ең басты құнды жәдігердің бірі тайқазан. Әрине ол тайқазан символдық мәні бар. Елдің құт берекесі іспетті. Сол мағынада сағынған жәдігер.
Taikazan is the most valuable and symbolic relic of this mausoleum. We carefully studied the inscriptions and they tell us that Taikazan was a symbol of welfare for the people, who placed spiritual values before any other. Since 2003, the mausoleum is recognized as a World Heritage Site. It means that these sites belong to all the people of the world, irrespective of the heritage around the world, considered to be of outstanding value to humanity. We welcome all of our guests and happily share our historical values, our identity, our hospitality, our national mode of life, and the soul of our people.
Мы часто выезжаем на места в экспедиции, например.
We often take part in expeditions to the sites. For instance, we visited Mangostal, explored Beket Ata, and walked the pilgrim route. When we worked on Turkestan collection, we organized an expedition to Turkestan. First Atrar, then Erastan Bab. We met with the direction of Azaret Sultan Museum. They showed understanding and support. We were given access to all the 16th century relics, which are based in the mausoleum. Museum management gave us an opportunity to be in this environment, to feel this atmosphere. They opened all doors for us.
Они нам открыли все двери.
Empire is one of the leading manufacturers of souvenirs in the traditional style. They portray Kazakh history and ethnography through the souvenirs. Every product features specific details as it is made with a great deal of skill and professionalism. In this regard, the company certainly deserves recognition. Speaking of Haja Ahmed Asawi Museum relics, we must emphasize that before manufacturing the products, we conduct a great deal of research. Souvenirs shaped as taikazan, the handles were made from the mausoleum doors. The taikazan model, as well as the images of the doors and handles, vividly portray their symbolic meaning and spiritual content. We are very pleased with these souvenirs.
Өте сапалы деңгейде бұл дүниелерді жарыққа шығарып, халыққа таратып жүр.
Приходится изучать уже историю того или иного
We
элемента,
need
что
to
нам
know
интересно.
the background of a particular artifact, whether it is an ornament or a historical figure. Every aspect of its origin should be thoroughly examined. If it is inspired by historical facts, we need to know the story behind it to avoid distorting it. If we do not have enough information, we turn to experts, to those people who can educate us, who know more about this topic than we do.
Тем людям, которые могут нас просветить, которые знают эту тему больше, чем мы.
Мне всегда было интересно, что мои работы выходили в каких-то других материалах, не характерная, допустим, живописи или там графики. И всегда мне было интересно, а как же мои работы будут смотреться в сувенирах. И когда пригласили меня Empire, я с удовольствием согласился работать. В основном многие...
I have always wondered what my works will look like when reproduced in mediums other than painting or graphics, in a less organic form. I have also been curious to see them as souvenirs. So when Empire invited me, I agreed with pleasure to work together. I was elated. My inspiration comes from the poets and their stories about our historical leaders, such as Abli Khan or Abul Khair Khan. I designed our banknotes creating several Khan images and those of other historical characters. Korkut Atta and I share the same place of birth since childhood. I was brought up with his music and his legends. Empire picked up on this theme and, in my opinion, did it well. I painted Korkut Atta. Later it was transformed into a sculpture. As we went along, Empire has transformed many of my paintings into bas-reliefs. I was intrigued by such transformation. Empire paid a lot of attention to historical detail, down to Khans and warlords' clothes, most importantly the Khan himself and his wazir, taking into account that they lived around 1728 to 1729, that their hairdos, hats, etc. were correct. In my view, Empire is doing the right thing for Kazakhs and foreigners today, contributing to the revival of our sense of national history.
Наша дизайн-студия, я считаю, что собраны самые лучшие.
Our design studio gathered the best artists in Kazakhstan. Of course, each one of them has their own natural talents. Some are very good with culture, some with textiles, some with porcelain. We are a team, and it's our greatest strength. We regard ourselves as a unit, a family who works together for the common end result.
Конечного результата. Производителей у нас очень много, у нас обширно.
We work with many manufacturers globally. We choose the best manufacturers for the particular task. The type of materials used often determines the choice of manufacturer. Italy, for example, is best for silk, textiles, and leather.
А если фарфор,
If we work with porcelain, we commission in China. We also work with Korea, Spain, and Malaysia. Our geography of manufacturing partners is vast. It is not really important where to make a product. What is important is what we produce, how we produce, and why we do it. We try to be where it is done better than anywhere else.
Там, где это делают лучше.
Качество – это, по-моему, основной флаг фирмы Empire.
Quality is the flag of this brand. Quality of the product and print is essential for Empire. Even artists who work for them must have a quality mark. Empire approached me in 2007 with the suggestion to transform my artwork onto porcelain products. The first thing we made was a tea mug with the lid. I was so delighted to see my own work on the surface of the mug. Designers adopted a little, but they have maintained the entire palette of my art. Not everyone can afford to buy my paintings, but everyone can afford to buy a remarkable souvenir and have a little copy. It's incredible.
Это замечательно.
A large circulation allows for the art to reach as many people as possible. A person would usually pay a visit to a gallery once, maybe twice. But if one buys this collector's dish, for instance, they will enjoy the art every day.
У казахов все.
Everything begins with tea in Kazakh tradition. The moment guests step into the house, they are offered a cup of tea. You set the table for the tea, and the conversation begins. I believe that Voldemar Afeld and I have a common goal: to preserve the cultural heritage of Kazakhstan.
Это, наверное, стиль жизни. С одной стороны, это история, с другой стороны,
It, likely lifestyle. On the one hand is a history. On the other hand is the future. It is what we breathe. It allows a contemporary person to feel like he is part of something larger, is a part of history, is a part of his own future. Empire is about that.
частью своего будущего. Это и есть Empire.
Imagination changes dimension of time. Empire.